Hey, definitely, once again, you're in tune to the international flavor, the universal spice. Definitely in tune to radio. I know. Hey, definitely top of the morning to each and every one, but we're not mourning at all. We are quite happy. Happy AJPI, the River Nile. Hey, remember the link is priestisaacinstitute.com. priestisaacinstitute.com. Share the link with a family friend. And you can even share it with your enemy. Hey, speaking of the enemy, I'm sure many of you saw the debate previous night. Well, that's what I want to talk about right now. Of course, for sure, we don't have a dog in the fight, but we definitely want to look at it for sure. In fact, previous night I didn't get all of it live as such, but I went back and watched the debate against the present president and the former president. And I guess at the end of it, the next one will be the former and the next one will be the present. But whatever the case is, you see, Brother Lamont Hill, he had a after party of the debate too. Himself and a few of his black colleagues. And I actually wanted to present that and we give it a listen. But one of the guests that he had, man, his mouth is just too foul. So can you imagine what I'm going to do now? I'm going to literally revert to CNN, who literally hosted the event previous evening. We're going to take in some of their afterthoughts and listen to what their outlook of the debate, and plus we will join the conversation. Yeah. Give that.
On what those voters might make of it from our political professionals, from our CNN Flash Poll and Swing State Focus Group. We'll be talking to surrogates, including Vice President Harris, getting fact checks from our Daniel Dale, and new reporting from inside both campaigns. With me here, CNN political commentator Scott Jennings, Kate Bedingfield, David Urban, Van Jones, Alyssa Farr Griffin, and Newsnight anchor Abby Phillip, and David Axelrod, and CNN Chief National Correspondent John King. John, let me start with you. Your thoughts.
Anderson, this was a game-changing debate in the sense that right now, as we speak, there is a deep, a wide, and a very aggressive panic in the Democratic Party. It started minutes into the debate, and it continues right now. It involves party strategists, it involves elected officials, it involves fundraisers. And they're having conversations about the president's performance, which they think was dismal, which they think will hurt other people down the party in the ticket, and they're having conversations about what they should do about it. Some of those conversations include, should we go to the White House and ask the president to step aside? Other of the conversations are about, should prominent Democrats go public with that call? Because they feel this debate was so terrible. They do say, in moments in the debate later, the president got better and got his footing, but then at the end, even his closing statement was a little halting. The contrast between the two candidates. Let me be clear. None of them, and a lot of Republicans, don't think Donald Trump had a great night. Donald Trump broke the fact-check machine more than I can count tonight. That will be on the record as we go forward. He refused to answer some very specific and direct questions about his conduct, about January 6th and what all. So that will be dealt with out there. And sometimes there's a parallel universe between the political elites and the American people. It'd be nice to see what the voters say. But I can tell you, it started minutes in. It started with the first couple of answers, and it has continued throughout the night from a, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, to what do we do about this? And it involves very senior people in the Democratic Party, including elected officials, saying we have a problem.
And just to co-sign what John is saying, I mean, the panic that I am hearing from Democrats is not like anything that I have heard in this campaign so far. And a lot of it has to do with, first of all, there was a deep frustration about Trump's lies. I mean, he lied a lot tonight. But the problem for Biden was that Trump was able to take sometimes incredible falsehoods and turn them into some kind of argument, whereas Biden's answers were, in a lot of cases, not coherent, deeply problematic, that he was not able to take pretty straightforward answers and answer them to the American public. And then also at some points, bringing things up that teed up Trump attacks. So there's a real concern here tonight that there's been some real damage done that cannot be undone. Biden solidified the perception among voters, but especially among his base, they were hoping that tonight would be a game changer. They are now seeing a president who is in the White House, who they do not necessarily believe can do this for another 4 years.
David Axelrod?
Look, I can't argue with either of them about how Democratic leaders are reacting to this poll. We said at the beginning that each person had a fundamental goal. And for Biden, that goal was to appear energetic, engaged, and look like someone who is capable of serving for another 4 years for president. That was job number one. I actually think he scored a bunch of points. I think if you just judge this on sort of policy stuff, he did score a bunch of points on issues like abortion, for example, on some of the economic issues. But there is a feeling, I think there was a sense of shock, actually, at how he came out at the beginning of this debate, how his voice sounded, he seemed a little disoriented. He did get stronger as the debate went on, but by that time, I think the panic had set in, and I think you're going to hear discussions that I don't know will lead to anything, but there are going to be discussion about whether he should continue. And I think part of it is Donald Trump did not meet his mission either. He could not resist the temptation to be nasty, to prevaricate about a whole bunch of things, about his own record, about Biden's record, and to seem petty and small at times. So what you saw was a candidate who's deeply vulnerable and a president who may not be able to take advantage of it.
Listen, if anybody in America thinks that was even close to being an okay debate by Joe Biden, I'm living in a parallel universe. That was an unmitigated disaster for President Biden from the second he walked out to the closing statement. The biggest issue for Democrats is abortion, and he couldn't give an answer. He gave an answer, he couldn't even give a coherent answer on the biggest issue for Democrats tonight. I've heard from leading Democrats across the United States, elected governors, congressmen, who are texting me and saying, I'm worried I'm going to lose if Joe Biden's at the top of the ticket. Bob Casey, I promise you tonight, in the state of Pennsylvania, is thrown up in his mouth because he knows that if he's got to stand next to Joe Biden, he's going down in Pennsylvania. If he's on the ticket, I don't know how it's going to work.
Yeah, look, it was a really disappointing debate performance from Joe Biden. I don't think there's any other way to slice it. His biggest issue that he had to prove to the American people was that he had the energy, he had the stamina, and he didn't do that. And so I think that is of concern, and I think for a lot of Democrats, that's very disappointing. I will say Donald Trump also had some really rough moments in this debate, and talking to the Biden campaign, they say their dials started really moving away from Trump as he was increasing his personal attacks on Biden. So I think there was a lot about his kind of character and the kind of personal nastiness that he was putting on display, that doesn't help him with the swing voters that he needs. And I also think you saw him continue to get sort of more and more animated across the course of the debate and, give some really problematic answers about January 6th, some really problematic answers about Putin. So, Donald Trump did not get off scot-free tonight by any stretch, but look, there is no two ways about it. That was not a good debate for Joe Biden.
Ben?
That was painful. I love Joe Biden. I work for Joe Biden. He didn't do well at all. He did not do well at all. And he looked, I'll give you the analysis, you kind of have the old man versus the con man. I can walk you through how I'm supposed to see it and say it, but I just want to speak from my heart. I love that guy. That's a good man. He loves his country. He's doing the best that he can. But he had a test to meet tonight to restore confidence of the country and of the base, and he failed to do that. And I think there's a lot of people who are going to want to see him consider taking a different course now. We're still far from our convention, and there is time for this party to figure out a different way forward if he will allow us to do that. But that was not what we needed from Joe Biden, and it's personally painful for a lot of people. It's not just panic, it's pain for what we saw tonight.
And
Now, let me come in here. And a lot of ones are not going to like me, for sure. And me. But he's talking about what's painful. Listening to him is painful, Mr. Van Jones of the CNN network. I'm sure you are familiar with who I'm speaking about. And I have a specific type of radar. I'm listening to hear what um, the melanated people have to say. And you see, his words just prove my words. We as a people, when the enemy begins to crumble, when Babylon begins to fall, we are the ones that are going to try our utmost best to keep it up. Why? Because of our bank account. Why? Well, we have the kids in college. Imagine that. Why? The car note. Why? Our luxurious life. Why? Even those who ain't living no luxurious anything, but they just don't want to give up the American nightmare. And when I say America, I'm not just talking about the United States of America. Yeah. I'm talking of the West. And you see, and West is not, let's not get caught up with directions alone. West is not just the Western Hemisphere. The West is a political term. It really has to do with white supremacy. That's the West. White supremacy created the West. So it's a concept that has even crept into the East, and it's in the North and the South too, the West. So that whole mentality, Rastafari, that we as a people have, as Malcolm X would say, in fact, Malcolm X is the perfect example here. Let me pull this up to show you exactly where I am. All right. Just give me a moment here. And I honestly believe that this speech will clarify exactly what I'm saying, because family, listen, to me, this is a serious thing. Okay, I think I found it here. All right, here we go, family. You're going to want to hear this. This is Malcolm X speaking about the house Negro and the field Negro. Okay, family, just give me one moment. Hey, remember, this is Radio Anu, the international flavor, the universal spice. Family, one second, let me line this up. In the meantime, just listen to this and, of course, go nowhere.
Family. I mean that, family. Our youths, our young ones, our children, we need them, redeem them, and clean them. You see them, or else the enemy will come and scheme them. Family. I mean that, family. Education for the nation that's full of salvation, biology, astronomy, and African theology, geography. Family. I love that, family. Whatever the age or the stage, that youth will be engaged with tutorials, activities, and videos from the studios of the Priest Isaac Institute of Holistic Knowledge. Family.
The International Homeschool Program is designed and recommended for all ages. The psychological state of our children is very important, especially in the environment that most of us live in. The International Homeschool Program provides online classes, activities, and videos that are fun for the youth and edifies them of their African heritage as well as the higher sciences. To enroll your family today, visit www.priestisaacinstitute.com, go to the main website, and search for Youth Corner. Or you can email priestisaacinstitute@gmail.com for a course sample. Give thanks.
Oh, beautiful. And you see, family, this is why the international homeschool program is so important. The psychological state of our youth, the mind, my family, the mind, the way that the young ones are thinking. You understand? I mean, all of the universities and the college degrees and all of that, they've been designed to create a better Negro. That's all. But you see, this is why you need to take education in hand when it comes to the young ones. Even if they go to these killing fields, you have to debrief them when they send them back home to you. Anyway, listen to this.
To understand this, you have to go back to what young brother here referred to as the house Negro and the field Negro.
Listen.
Back during slavery, there was two kinds of slaves. There was the house Negro and the field Negro. The house Negro, they lived in the house with master. They dressed pretty good. They ate good because they ate his food, what he left. They lived in the attic or the basement, but still they lived near their master. And they loved their master more than the master loved himself. They would give their life to save their master's house quicker than the master would. The house Negro, if the master said, we got a good house here, the house Negro said, yeah, we got a good house here. Whenever the master said we, he said we. That's how you can tell a house Negro. If the master's house caught on fire, the house Negro would fight harder to put the blaze out than the master would.
Imagine that.
If the master got sick, the house Negro would say, what's the matter, boss? We sick. We sick. He identified himself with his master more than his master identified with himself.
Oh, my.
And if you came to the house Negro and said, let's run away, let's escape, let's separate, that house Negro would look at you and say, man, you crazy. What you mean separate? Where is there a better house than this? Where can I wear better clothes than this? Where can I eat better food than this? That was that house Negro.
No, listen. And I'm being very clear here. I'm not even trying in any way or form to mock anyone, much less mock Mr. Van Jones. I'm just highlighting to those who I love, including him, the reality of what's happening around us.
Biden. He didn't do well at all.
Here it is.
I love Joe Biden. I work for Joe Biden. That was painful. I love Joe Biden. I work for Joe Biden. He didn't do well at all. He did not do well at all. And he looked, I'll give you the analysis, you kind of have the old man versus the con man. I can walk you through how I'm supposed to see it and say it, but I just want to speak from my heart. I love that guy. That's a good man. He loves his country. He's doing the best that he can.
Yeah.
But he had a test to meet tonight to restore confidence of the country and of the base, and he failed to do that. And I think there's a lot of people who are going to want to see him consider taking a different course now. We're still far from our convention, and there is time for this party to figure out a different way forward if he will allow us to do that. But that was not what we needed from Joe Biden, and it's personally painful for a lot of people. It's not just panic, it's pain for what we saw tonight.
And if I may just add to
To
that,
understand this, you
I
have
think
to go
Joe
back
Biden-
to what young brother here referred to as the house Negro and the field Negro back during slavery. There was two kinds of slaves. There was the house Negro and the field Negro. The house Negro, they lived in the house with master. They dressed pretty good. They ate good because they ate his food, what he left. They lived in the attic or the basement, but still they lived near their master. And they loved their master more than the master loved himself. They would give their life to save their master's house quicker than the master would. The house Negro, if the master said, we got a good house here, the house Negro say, yeah, we got a good house here. Whenever the master said we, he said we. That's how you can tell a house Negro. If the master's house caught on fire, the house Negro would fight harder to put the blaze out than the master would. If the master got sick, the house Negro would say, what's the matter, boss? We sick. We sick. He identified himself with his master more than his master identified with himself. And if you came to the house Negro and said, let's run away, let's escape, let's separate, that house Negro would look at you and say, man, you crazy. What you mean separate? Where is there a better house than this? Where can I wear better clothes than this? Where can I eat better food than this? That was that house Negro. In those days, he was called a house nigger. And that's what we call him today because we still got some house niggers running around here.
And again, let me just highlight this. It's very, very important because this is not just about the brother here, man. As I said, I would have looked on Brother Lamont Hill program. I would have scoped a few, channels, and I mean, the Negroes are crying. This is something else. Black people all over America and all over the world, even here in the Caribbean, I can only imagine when the talking heads begin to speak. In fact, I'm sure they're speaking already. Oh, Joe Biden disappointed us. This is foolishness. And this is why, no, this is serious. This is a serious state of mental insanity. We as a people are going through. Imagine watching them two killers speaking to one another. And we have that so emotionally affecting us because Joe Biden couldn't speak properly. I mean, listen, man, I don't mock nobody. Believe me, I don't mock people. I don't laugh at no one because of whatever state they're in. Remember, we did a video, I don't know how many of you saw it the other day, when they were at the White House with the Juneteenth event, and Joe Biden just stuck. Man falling off his bike, going up a stairs to his plane. Again, I'm not mocking no one. But Joe Biden, Rasta, yo, I don't think you understand the history of these people here. Yeah, you need to do your research. You need to listen to the tiger's nest. Eh? You know how he speak about Black people? I would have done a whole program on that. I don't even want to go there now. Bills that people like him specifically would have passed, ensured that many, many Black young youths were locked away in prison, some of them for life, for petty crime. Him, Bill Clinton, Ronald Reagan, you see them three people there? Them is the Black man's worst nightmare. Yeah, Mr. Joe Biden. I'm saying it straight. I've said it already. I had a whole program. In fact, when this program is about 4 years old, you could check it on the YouTube. And I saved the program until he won the election because I didn't want to, seem to be interfering in their foolishness. And you see, this is why a lot of people do not understand it. But when the Black Christ teach us to stay away from their politicking, many ones miss it and, oh, well, you have to have a say. Many people died for the right to vote. Let me not put it that way. I don't want to sound disrespectful. Yeah, many people died, as you said, for the right to vote. But no matter how many people died for the right to choose, there's no way on earth you could have me choosing between them two people, not unless it's to choose which one I should first. But what are you talking about? Hmm. Them and their raggedy sisters, there's certain things I do, but the main point is here. The main point, because there's certain things I don't want even go into. Because they have a way of taking a devil out of their devil group and making him Satan when all of them just as bad as him. They like that. They did it with Hitler. Somehow they make Hitler look like if Hitler is worse than the rest of them. Give me a break. Hitler? I mean, we surely are not members of the Hitler fan club. Hitler? Give me a break, man. As I said, Hitler is just as bad as the rest of them. But for them to try to make him look worse than the rest of them, it's unacceptable. The same thing with Mr. Donald Trump. I can't fall. It's sad to see black people fall for that. Imagine that, black people talking about, well, anybody's better than Trump. What anybody's better? I mean, you forgot what Trump said. What are you talking about? The S-hole countries and them kind of things there, boss. Listen to me, man. I think you miss my point. We ain't campaigning for none of them devils. I'm trying to show you they're all the same. None ain't worse than none. And if one is worse than the other, who they try to make to be the worst ain't the worst. So when I hear black people after this debate crying, you know how much black people around the world, especially in America, there are black people in Barbados, there are black people here in Antigua that were crying last night, crying, literally crying, because Joe Biden did bad on his debate. Suppose Joe Biden was to die. I'm telling you. Well, I think I saw a post. It's a post or card, something. A vote for Biden is a vote for Kamala. I mean, obviously, but it didn't mean like that. It mean like voting for him as president is voting for her to be president. You get it. I'm sure you can pick it up. Right. So that might be the outcome. Maybe it gives people a reason to rejoice. But listen, I'm saying that again, my theory is correct. When this colonial system begins to crumble, of which it is crumbling, it is us, the colonial, what you may call it, those who have been persecuted. And here they say, they have more field Negroes or field slaves than they have house slaves, But that was then. But now they have more house slaves than the field slaves. And you may say, what? How is that? Man, even the field slaves have a house slave mentality today. You get it? They're not even prospering like the people in the house, But maybe they fling out a little chicken back or something for them every now and again through the kitchen window, and to them that's progress. Hey family, I hope this one is not too heavy, man, because this is some serious stuff. And I know for sure that when I listen to the local radio a bit later today, I'm going to hear again the talking heads. Oh, Joe gave a real bad performance last night. Things doesn't look too good for us. Things don't look too good for us. Things doesn't. things doesn't look too good for us. Things doesn't look too good for you. Yeah. So if Joe Biden is to win the election, I'm sure things would look great for you. Yeah. I would invite anyone to go and visit. In fact, I think I might just run that program sometime later today, right here on radio and with the international flavor, the universal spice. And you can even go to the YouTube channel and check it out, Priest Isaac, Joe Biden, and you will see Uncle Joe. I think the video was called Uncle Joe, and you will get the real stats. In fact, listen, let me get some of that clip for you. I can't have you here and have you hanging on. Let me just find some of this information for you here so you can see what's going on. You're going to hear from the horse's mouth, that's Mr. Biden himself, what he thinks of you. All right, I have it right here. Hey, that was quick. Talk about the divine energy. All right. All right.
We already have a nigger mayor. We don't need any more nigger big shots.
Yep, that's it, man. That's not from last night, though. That was from a while ago. This is a program I have, The Shock of the Hour, President Joe Biden, right there on my YouTube channel. You could check it out. 3 years ago. Let's see that again.
We already have a nigger mayor. We don't need any more nigger big shots.
Imagine that. Imagine that, eh? Let me hear what else it said here. This is a program I did 3-4 years ago. What's going on?
Wow.
Oh,
I learned a lot. And I learned that and Corn Pop was a bad dude.
I think the two-party system is good for the South and good for the Negro, good for the black in the South. Other than the fact that they still call me boy, I think they've changed their mind a little bit. If Haiti just quietly sunk into the Caribbean, or
if Haiti just quietly sunk into the Caribbean,
or rose up 300 feet, it wouldn't matter a whole lot. Is it because blacks are involved in Haiti?
It was old media that got him in trouble. Personal comments he made about another White House hopeful, Senator Barack Obama.
I mean, you got the first sort of mainstream African American who is articulate and bright and clean and a nice looking guy. I mean, that's a storybook, man.
I mean, you've got the first sort of mainstream African American who is articulate and bright and clean and nice looking guy. I mean, that's a storybook, man. That's the same thing Bill Clinton said, that fairy tale stuff. Bill Clinton said a similar thing. Can you imagine? I'm surprised. Not Uncle Joe.
He's going to let the big banks once again write their own rules.
No. This now. This was a lecture given to largely black audience.
Unchain Wall Street.
It is.
They're going to put you all back in chains.
We have this notion that somehow if you're poor, you cannot do it.
Hey, this one is the best now.
Listen.
Or the worst. Listen. We have this notion that if you're poor, you cannot do this.
Hear this.
Hear this now.
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as rich kids. Not rich, we said? White kids. Black kids are just as no, he said poor kids. Right, but then you said it wasn't rich. No, he compared poor to white. No, not Uncle Joe.
You cannot do it.
No.
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
Poor, white is the opposite of poor? I thought rich was the opposite of poor
Okay,
and
okay,
black was
okay.
the
Hold
opposite.
on, hold on, hold on. If you want to hear that program, you go and visit the YouTube channel for yourself and you can listen to that. I'm having a joy listening to that. But yeah, families, this is what I'm talking about. And we as black people, we balling for this, crying. Nothing happened to him. Nobody did him anything. He just had a bad night in a debate. And black people are crying, sad. So when the Tower of Babel really begin to crumble, what are you going to do? That's your ticket home. But you're going to be holding on, crying for people that not only don't have your interest at heart, they would take you out in a moment. Then people, you forget what's going on. It's Hollywood. There's nothing real there. That's WWF or WWE wrestling. They already know who's going to win. Maybe you don't know, but they have it in the bag. Wow. Talking about the theater of the devil. And we weeping and mourning and over concerned. Even those who are not crying over it, they're still over concerned. Blacks for Trump. I mean, come on now. That's another level of insanity there. Blacks for who? Man, you people. Listen, this is why, again, I mean, it's as if we feel as if we are sinning if we don't pick one or the other. What kind of thing is this? No, they make you feel guilty in this society here in Antigua. You are made to feel guilty if you do not vote. You have no choice. You just have two people, and the two of them, you know them personally. I mean, in this small society, you know if a pig was to enter the race, you would vote for the pig and its mother before you vote for any of them two people there. And they force you, well, not force you, because I mean, they can't force you, but psychologically, they play with your mind in this society. Believe me, that's where I am. I grew up in this stuff here. You don't vote yet? And you register, and everybody asks you, every corner you turn, they ask you, every auntie, every uncle, everyone, eh? So you can just imagine. So somehow, and then again, in a culture like the US, do you know how many people died for the right for you to vote? Don't miss this chance. You need to go out and make sure you vote for Uncle Joe. Yeah. And that's another thing. All the people telling you, go and vote, go and vote, go and vote. Okay, I'm going to vote for Trump. No, 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 you can't do that. You can't do that. I'm telling you, Rastafari. Hey, give thanks, Rastafari. Radio Anu, the international flavor, the universal spice. Talking about Priest Isaac Institute.com. Once again, make sure you share the link and let someone know what's taking place and what's going on right here. Definitely. Hey, give thanks, family. Don't change that dial. Keep it right here as we continue to rock.